Hey, this is Raise Radio, the holistic wisdom podcast for awakening women that weaves food and nutrition, traditional wisdom, spiritual expansion, so that you can feel your best, body, mind, and soul. I'm your host, Raina Lutz. Let's dig in. Hey, this is Raise Radio, and today I want to talk a little bit more about anxiety because I do have a podcast specifically on foods to add to your diet when you are experiencing, a part of you is experiencing anxiety. I also have a different blog that I would always share when it came to people who were struggling with anxiety. Because, as you know, in a holistic way of thinking, you can't just combat an issue with one thing, right? There's going to be multiple players in the game, and there's going to be a root cause. There's going to be one thing that you need to find that's going to help you with the main symptoms. So for most people, anxiety is just like this sort of mild general discomfort of being in the body. And for a lot of people, it takes time for them to even identify that part of them, that it is this part of them that they carry. A lot of people carry it without knowing that that's what it is, so they just identify that that's who they are. But it is just a part of you. And food is a one part to be able to support anxiety, but there's a lot of things you want to do in your lifestyle to also support anxiety, right? So, there's like lots of self-care that you can do that people will roll their eyes when they hear this. They'll go, yeah, I know. And I did the yeah, I know for like 8 years until my panic attacks ended up with me in a hospital in Paris with non-English speaking doctors, and having had my first like huge panic attack after years and years of this like mild general anxiety. And so that was a really terrifying experience, because when I had my first panic attack, not only was I in a different country, so there was a lot of players in the game, right? There was like jet lag, I was exhausted, I was really stressed because I was in a foreign country. Even though it was beautiful and I was happy, there was a lot of stress. It was my first international travel. I was eating different foods, I was drinking alcohol, right? Lack of sleep, all of these players contributed to that first panic attack. And what a crazy initiation into trauma healing and learning my body and learning all of the parts of myself and all of the ideas of what self-care was that I thought I was participating in that wasn't actually doing anything for supporting my body. So it can be scary to navigate, and I acknowledge that if you're struggling with anxiety, that it is a challenge to navigate, and it is a challenge to add things into your life that you're going to be rolling your eyes at. As someone who has dealt with this, come out the other side, and now I don't experience that. Like, that's why I want to share this with people. That's why it's important for me to share my successes in overcoming mental health issues, because just like me, I rolled my eyes, and it's like, yep, you can do that all day for years until you get so fed up with the symptoms that you go, okay, I'm willing to try anything at this point. Like, what do I have to do? And so having a mindfulness practice needs to be on your plate in addition to eating better for anxiety. And I know in the other blog I talked about really specific foods to bring into your diet. You also need to be eating regularly and eating healthy fats for a proper blood sugar balance. So you really kind of have to just like step back and look at your life and look at all of the things that you've been doing to sort of like rush the experience to try to get through life. And when you step back and look at how much you've been rushing, you're like, okay, yeah, I can see where this is manifesting in my body, right? I can see that panic is manifesting in my body. And here's the parts of my life that feel like they're not working right now and that I want to either run away from, right? Or get away from, or to just stop. So, yoga, meditation, all these things are really helpful. Finding the root cause in your nervous system, as a whole. Like for me, it was, I always resisted inner child healing. I was like, ugh, that's really like that kind of, I don't think that's for me. But then once I did it, it solved a massive anxiety problem that I'd had in my body since as long as I could remember. I'd always have this like tightness and tugging in my gut, like something was wrong. And I carried that for my whole life until I did inner child healing when I was 34 years old and finally experienced relief from that feeling. Oh my gosh, of course I wished I could go back in time and save myself all that agony by just doing my inner child healing earlier. Anyways, yoga or meditation, deep breathing, all of those need to be a part of your system, your routines. They need to be built in somehow because they change things on a physiological level, right? So it's really, really important to know these tools so that you can pull yourself out of an attack. But you can also start doing them preventatively so that you'll, before you get to having an attack, you'll be taking measures to help your nervous system so that you're not going there. Or you're not going to that intensity of it. There would be times when I would battle my panic attacks and I would say, oh, okay, I can sort of feel like the edges of one coming, like I really like learned them and it's like I can feel the edge of one coming. So what can I do now? Okay, and I would say out loud, okay, I'm starting to feel anxious. What should I do? And I would just talk it out with myself. Like, okay, should we go for a walk? Should we do some deep breathing? Should we do 100 jumping jacks? Like just what should I do to move and to move that energy? So refined sugar, these are listed in my blog. So supporting your brain health with steady blood sugar, right? So eating regularly, eating healthy fats. So coconut oil, coconut butter, raw nuts, nuts and seeds, starchy vegetables instead of all grains and pasta and breads. I'm a sweet potato lover, so sweet potatoes are really, really helpful for this. Minimizing refined sugar. So I would find on days when I was having more sugar in my diet that I was having a higher chance of panic attack. And so I just decided, I like sugar. Sugar's fun, but I don't need it every day. And when I took it out of my diet, it was really hard. And of course I was like, pouty about it. But it didn't last forever, right? Like I eat sugar now and it doesn't do that to me. I also don't overdo it. I know that it's almost like I have a limit, right? So I know that, okay, I'm going to have this, but if I do another one, then that's just not, I'm not going to feel good. And so, but back then I decided to cut it out completely. And I don't remember how long I did it for. It wasn't like a year or anything, but I just found other ways to still have like sweet things. Like I would have more fruit, or I had like, date nut balls. But like the refined sugar, like the fancy coffees with refined sugar and like cakes or chocolates, like all of those like snacky bits, like I just took all those out. And that was really helpful, right? Because those are just, they're stimulants. And we need to not have stimulants in our life when we're feeling anxious. That's just the reality. So I also cut out coffee, which was kind of hard for me, but not really, only at first. But I was never a huge coffee person anyway, so it wasn't like something that I had in my life for, since I was a teen. So it's easier for me to say, no, I'll just switch to tea and see how that goes. I don't even think I dealt with headaches. I can't remember, it was so long ago. I don't think I did. And then now if I'm, with my friends in the city and it's like, oh my gosh, let's go for coffee, then I just get a decaf. And so, it's like these stimulants are contributing. They really are contributing to the problem. So you have to have, when you do that sit back and look at your life, you kind of have to do that. Part of that sit back is going, okay, what are the stimulants that I'm putting in that are literally making this problem worse? How do I get rid of that? And that's where our trauma work comes in, because there's going to be parts of us that will really resist that and say, no, I love my stimulants. This is what they do for me. And so it's, it's a give and take. It's like, can I just lessen them? Can I cut them out and suffer quickly for a end result longer term that is way more beneficial than suffering for just a couple days? Or is there a replacement I can find for it that's not as bad, right? Like it's just sort of tweaking, and this is the sort of fun that can be found in making these shifts, is that we do get to play with it. We get to meld it. It doesn't have to be X, Y, Z. It doesn't. A lot of people recommend aromatherapy for anxiety. I'm not a big essential oils person, just because of the medicinal factor of them, and as well the typical MLMs that sell them. I really used to like essential oils, and then I was taught a lot more about how detrimental they can actually be and how they're giving our body more work. And of course, I'm not wanting to give my body more work. And so I don't use those anymore. However, I know some people find do find some good results from that. I just caution you to work with someone who actually understands essential oils, not just someone who sells them. So finding someone who is like a proper aromatherapist is really important if you're going to be playing with essential oils medicinally. And of course, never ingest essential oils. They have a very strong antibacterial effect, and our gut is made up of bacteria, and we do not want to wipe that clean. So I always recommend people to please not ingest them just because the internet or a TikTok person told you to do so. Baths are really a nice touch to your anxiety plan. Having nice baths at home. You can put Epsom salts in them. That will raise our magnesium level. So that's having a very calming effect on the mind. And bonus points if you can do your deep breathing, yoga nidra, or any kind of nervous system, vagus nerve stimulation practice while you're in the bath. So my favorite one is just putting my fingers on my cheekbones and rubbing up and down. And it sometimes only takes like 10 seconds or so, and I'm yawning and I'm super, super relaxed. So when we stimulate the vagus nerve, it is relaxing. So the interesting evolution for me in my anxiety journey was that it took me a while to actually stop stressing about not stressing. So once I, claimed the fact, okay, this is a mental health issue I'm experiencing. I'm having panic attacks. So my body is not well. And so I'm being challenged by stress and anxiety. So how do I mitigate this? And then once I started, trying different things and learning more things about it specific to anxiety, and trying to change things in my home and in my relationships and in my work, like once I started doing all that, I actually was stressing more about trying to create less stress in my life. Oh, the irony. So I was so committed to reversing my anxiety that I tried to put a ban on all stress in my life, except life doesn't work like that. So just cautioning you to not let your desire to reduce stress actually create more stress to your nervous system. The best thing you can do is sit back, look at that big picture, right? Do your nervous system practices, take nice deep breaths, right? Okay, so, and then the self-care, the self-care piece needs to be taken into account. So really looking at what self-care is for you right now. So outside of work and outside of house responsibilities, what do you do for you? So the ideas that I listed were walking, baths, getting sunshine, meditating, and vitamin L, which is like a lots of love with your friends, your family, your partner. And so I had to really dig into that, because before that I didn't really understand what that meant, and I would just kind of roll my eyes going, yeah, I guess that's a thing that I can do, but I don't. And so then when I was forced to look at it, then I really started So now I just have non-negotiables. Like every day I need my 10 minutes of vigorous exercise. I need a walk. I love to have nice baths, but that's not a non-negotiable. Getting sunshine is definitely part of my daily. If it's not a sunny day, I have my little sun lamp. And, those feel ridiculous. I feel like a little lizard under there, just like sitting there getting my sun for the day. I'm like, I am an alien's pet right now. It feels really silly. But it helps. And then meditation is a non-negotiable for me as well. Like I have my 14-minute timer on my Insight Timer app, and it doesn't matter what time of day I do it, as long as I do it. And I very rarely miss a day because it's just part of my routines. So I just want you to know that if you're experiencing anxiety, that if no one has told you that they acknowledge that you're having this very uncomfortable experience, that I will acknowledge that for you and validate your feelings for you. Because I think a lot of times in the circles we run in, whether it's our family or, even like our medical team, we might not feel heard. We might not feel like anyone actually understands what we're going through. And I need you to know that if you're still listening to this right now, that I do understand what you're going through. I have felt it in my body on a daily for years, and that you can overcome this. You can get to a life where you feel safe and calm and even have moments of happiness. Wow, like imagine that. True happiness, like safe, relaxed happiness, not the happiness that comes from, quick, peppy stimulants or booze or anything that you think is giving you happiness, but you're really just taking some fake power from them. So I want you to know that you can heal this, and I'm here for you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening. You can find me online at www.rainadonlutz.com.